Good morning, folks. It's Kid Shorty Gamer Nation. Going live in the mornings. In this live, we're going to be talking about why do men, particularly dating coaches, relationship coaches, or certain relationship coaches on the internet, are conditioning men to date non-traditional women or 304s, right? Now, as a man, as an individual, if that's what you want to do, by all means do that. Like if you want to be more new age, open relationship, sex culture, and you just want to smash, by all means, live your life. All right. My issue with it is now, or not my issue, the issue is now when you have men that are saying they're looking for traditional women, right? And when those men are saying that, okay, in the environment, they're just 304s walking around. Every time to meet up on a chick, this chick is a 304, or as they're dating this person turns out to be a 304, right? Now, if you're a traditional guy and you're looking for a traditional relationship, you have a right to get up on YouTube and complain and influence the women to be more traditional, as long as you yourself are the reflection of what you're looking for from that woman, right? So what a lot of the men will do when they get up here on YouTube is they'll tell other men, well, most of the women in the dating market are 304s. So, you asking for a woman to not be a 304, to be more traditional, you're asking for basically a unicorn, and you have to settle for what's there. Now, what that is saying is that the men are not going to date according to how the women are operating, right? Because if you're telling the dudes that, well, you're looking for a traditional woman, it's not possible because the women are 304s and you have to settle for that. Hey, okay, watch this. I have a topic on the screen with the title. On the title, right? I have a topic on the title, and let me calm down. I have a title, I have a topic. Respect my channel like how you would respect Fresh and Fit, like you would respect any other YouTuber. You come to my chat, respect me, talk about the topic. The topic is not about Fortnite. The topic is not about the last video I premiered. The topic is about this, right? On this channel, I play video games and I talk about other stuff because I'm not just a one-dimensional person. 32 years of experience, and I have a lot of knowledge and intelligence in my brain. So please, I'm asking when you come to the chat, speak about what I'm talking about. This is what masculinity and manhood is about. You follow the lead of the leader. Or if you don't like how that leader is leading, if you don't want to talk about what he's talking about, there's other channels you can subscribe to or other channels you can watch. Right? This is for you younger dudes. Which masculinity and manhood is a lost art nowadays. Which coincides with the topic I'm talking about. A lot of dudes, you're moving in accordance to how your women are operating to get the women. Instead of moving how you want to move and let the women adjust themselves to you, right? Because what a lot of the men are doing, now watch this, a lot of the men, what's going on? Damn it, gaming. A lot of the men on, what's going on? Respect the channel, like the channel, subscribe, respect the topic I'm going to talk about today, right? A lot of the men on YouTube who are relationship coaches or whatsoever, they're conditioning the younger guys who don't have experience or any knowledge being traditional, to move according to what's assumed to be in the dating market. So now, if you're a younger guy, you want to be traditional, right? And you're saying, well, there's not enough traditional women in the dating market, right? And now, what a dating coach is going to do and tell you is say, well, a certain type of dating coach. Say the dating coach is into sex culture, he's into 304s. What he's going to tell you is, well, there's not traditional women in the market. All the women are the same and they're all promiscuous and they're all 304s. So you have to settle for the 304s that you don't know yourself. This is according to somebody else's perception or somebody else's talking point. It's not according to you and what you've gone out into the dating market and seen for yourself. It's according to somebody else's perception, right? So now when you go to the dating market, they want to condition you to date the 304s instead of saying, okay, I want to be traditional and I want to influence the women to not be 304s and to be more traditional, right? And if you notice that when traditional men get up on YouTube and they're influencing the women to be traditional, the non-traditional guys, they dirty back on those traditional dudes, right? So it's like, no, here's the reason for that now, right? The thing is, if you have quality dudes who want to be traditional, given access to 304s, it's not going to stop 304s from being 304s. They're going to keep being 304s because the 304 is going to say, oh, okay, well, I'm a 304 and I can still get into a relationship with a good quality dude, traditional dude, because they're not giving me access to the relationship. All I got to do is now pretend not to be a 304, like with Riley Reid or one of those corn stars, right? Now, one of the core things about masculinity is to be honest about what you're selling and what's your leadership style, and what you're influencing, right? I would have more respect for the non-traditional dudes if they came out and they were saying, well, listen, we date 304s, we wife up 304s, and when you come to my channel, I teach you how to wife up a 304. That way, the man who's going to watch that person, that relationship coach, is going to know, okay, cool. This person is non-traditional. This person is in an open relationship. This person is into sex culture. That's what I'm not into. Now you can say to yourself, okay, make a choice and say, no, I'm not going to watch this person. I'm not going to listen to the game from this person. I'm not going to take advice from this person. All right? But that's not what they do. They don't honestly say that, okay, we want 304s. They, who the hell is mine? That's not my name. My name is Kish Charlie Gaming Nation, not Mang. Well, you say man, okay, whatever. Like the chat, subscribe, speak to the topic, talk about the topic I'm talking about, whatsoever. Right. So, now, the issue with that now is they're not telling you dudes straight up that this is what we're into. They'll say it indirectly or they'll say it in passing. Right? And then they'll put the responsibility of being traditional onto the dudes, and they'll put it onto the women. Now, the reason for that is, remember, the guys that like to date 304s, right, and they like to wife up a 304, they not going to come out and tell you that's what we're doing. They want to convince you that all of the women in the dating pool are 304s. Now, there's some truth to that, right? Because the problem is not with the man being traditional or non-traditional. The real problem is the women lying to the traditional men, pretending to be traditional when they're really 304. So now if you go to dating market, right, and a chick tells you, you know, I need to get the time to know you, or I don't have sex on the first day, or we need to become friends with each other to get to know each other, or You know how to, just so those of you who have experience with dating, you know how that goes. So typically, when a chick is telling you, well, I need to wait till time to get to know you before we have sex, or something along the lines of that, what they're really saying is that they're not attracted to you. And what they're doing is they're going to play a game with you, or run a game on you, meaning that they're not going to give you sex. They're just going to string you along. And they're pretending that they're a good person or they're a traditional person when they're really a 304. See, that's not a problem with the men being traditional. That's what the problem with the women lying, pretending to be traditional when they're not, in order to shortcut the game and cheat the game to get a man that they know they don't qualify for. Right? See, now, instead of the dating coaches recognize that that's a problem with the women, right? And saying, well, if a guy is going to be honest and tell you he's looking for a traditional chick and he's looking for a non 304, and this chick is going to lie to that person, to that dude, using his honesty to say, now, okay, I'm going to run this game on you, right? That's not the man's fault for being honest. That's the woman's fault for being dishonest and using his honesty as a way to play a game with him, right? Now, so instead of the men on YouTube holding that woman accountable, the men are going to say, now, well, see, that was a 304. And the reason why that 304 played around with you is because, how should I say this? Forgive me, I have ADHD, so I kind of lose the thought in my brain. You say most are? Well, that's relative. Well, I can agree with you somewhat there, right? And I'm gonna get into that. Why I think that. Why I agree with you later on, right? Because there's some truth to what you're saying, right? It's not a complete lie. So instead of the men on YouTube telling the dudes, well, to either vet that chick out properly or hold the women accountable for lying, they'll put all that responsibility on the guy. So the thing is that the women have to be traditional already before a guy meets that woman. In order for that woman to be traditional, you have to influence the woman to be traditional. Right? But instead, the men on YouTube, what they do is they try to condition a lot of you younger fellas or you younger men to go treat a 304 like a lady or to get into a relationship with a 304. Like I said earlier, when you're giving 304s access to quality men or traditional men, a traditional guy, they're not going to say, stop being 304s. They're going to keep being 304s knowing that they're going to be rewarded with a good dude or traditional dude, right? Because back in the time before, what would happen is that traditional men, if they found out that she was a 304, they would stop dating you. They would block you and cut you off, right? Because now, you as a guy told that chick the type of woman you're looking for and she lied to you. So she's a liar, right? Now, the thing is, when you're conditioning the men to have their dating standards according, because it's assumed that most of the women are 304s, that's you conditioning the men to move with the women. Now they're doing that under the disguise of, or under the mask of, manhood and masculinity. And what they do is they will use a female manipulation tactic by saying, are you not confident in your leadership? Or you must be insecure. See, that's not what manhood and masculinity is about. That's how women talk when they want to manipulate you to pick them or lower your guard for them. So when you have men up there saying, well, aren't you not confident in your leadership? No. Confident in your leadership. But your response should be, no, I'm confident into my leadership because I know what I want and I know what I don't want. Right? So you guys, you got to stop falling for that. So stop falling for that manipulation tactic that the men are now using. You have men on YouTube using female manipulation tactics to manipulate you dudes to move in accordance to the women, or what's assumed, how it's assumed that the women are moving. Because now, if you're telling me, because I have a standard that I don't want to date promiscuous women, and you're telling me that that's an unrealistic standard because most women are promiscuous, right? That's what you're telling me. That's not something I found out by myself. Or instead of you telling me, this is the game on how you find women who are not promiscuous, you're telling me that all women are promiscuous. Hence, I should lower my dating standards to a promiscuous chick or a strag or a unqualified woman. That's you now moving the men in accordance to how the women are. Instead of telling the men, well, if you're looking for a traditional chick, this is how you find a traditional woman, but you got to be traditional and you got to influence the men to be traditional. The only problem with that is that when the men are influencing the women to be more traditional, the men who are more progressive and more, new age, they dirty mag and they shame the non-traditional women, the non-traditional men. And they even don't like, so I've even seen men on YouTube, when a woman says, I want to be traditional, they'll shame her. But they won't shame her into being non-traditional. They'll say, why are you men so obsessed with virgins? Or why are you men so obsessed with traditional chicks? Well, if I'm a traditional dude and I'm saying that this is the woman I'm looking for, then of course, that's what the type of chick I'm going to identify and say, this is the type of woman I'm looking for. Right? But what we would have to ask you guys that love 304s or love promiscuous chicks, why are you so obsessed with 304s? Why are you so obsessed with promiscuous women? And why do you guys not want men to not deal or get into a relationship with traditional chick, or you want them to get into a relationship with a promiscuous chick? The reason being is that they want to keep the factory of 304s to keep continuing for their selfish benefit. But they're hiding it under the disguise of masculinity and male accountability and manhood. Because their ideology is, if we hold the men accountable, the women will hold themselves accountable. The thing is now, if you're holding the men accountable to dating a 304 or to dating a promiscuous chick, now, right? Now, the men are becoming the reflection of the women instead of the women becoming the reflection of the men. So, you younger guys, you got to be very careful about the type of dating coaches you're listening to and what's their standards and what standards are they holding you up to as the man. Because if they're holding you up to a standard of being a player or being a more new age type of guy, you're going to attract the women who are new age. And you're going to become a reflection of a player or a reflection of a new age guy or the reflection of the dating market. When if you're a man and you're in the leadership position, the dating market should become the reflection of you, the man, right? So, let me say that I have a quote on Twitter. It's something I wrote on Twitter, and I'm going to read it, all right? Now, mind you, I don't have an issue with guys being players or max, because at the end of the day, as a man, you have a right to live your life the way you want to live it, so long as you're successful at that life and you're not trying to infringe on my freedom or trying to shame me to live the way you want me to live. Right? The only thing with that now is if you're in American space and the foundation of America has been built off of traditionalism, as a traditional man, I have a right to shame women and the dudes who are not living up to the traditional standard because you're in our house. See what I'm saying? So let's go into some of the things that I posted up here. By the way, a lot of you white dudes are very fucking insecure. A lot of you white dudes are so obsessed with white women white men, black dudes dating white women. When you white dudes love to date Asian chicks. So let me tell you, let me sidebar right quick. White men are so hypocritical. White men don't like it when black dudes date their women or interracial dating. Because according to the logic of white men, it degrades their genetics and it degrades their DNA. But white women love to pursue, but white men, my bad, love to pursue Asian women. So, but then by that logic, if you're saying you're not into interracial relationships and you don't like black dudes dating white women because it's going to destroy your genetic structure, wouldn't that same logic apply to you who are dating Asian women? Because there are a lot of white dudes that go to Thailand and Vietnam to go date Asian women, and you're infecting the genetic pool. Because a lot of these white dudes go over there, have sex with those Asian women raw, get them pregnant, and then you create half-breed mongrels. You did the same thing with Puerto Rico. White men went to Puerto Rico and raped the Puerto Rican people that was there, or the Tainos that was there, messing up the genetic pool. Then they went to Jamaica, wiped out the Tainos that was there. Then there was a story of how they went to Cuba, and every year, I think the Spaniards would go to Cuba, of one of those islands, Cuba or Colombia, to go rape those women over there. Also, white men during slavery loved going to West Africa and having relations or interracial relationships with those black African women over there. So white dudes, y'all are very hypocritical. And if you talk about how black dudes like to get the ugly white chicks, there's a lot of ugly-faced white women that a lot of you ugly-faced white dudes love to get. So white dudes, y'all are very hypocritical. You like to smash everybody else's women on the planet and fuck up everybody else's genetic pool, but when it comes to black dudes fucking your women, it's a problem. But anyway, this is a quote I said on Twitter. Most of the men shaming traditional men into wifing up 304s are the ones creating the 304s, making those women unqualified for a traditional nigga. They also want the 304 factor to keep going. So they want traditional niggas to keep giving access to 304s, right? See, what a lot of the dudes, a lot of the men, what they're doing when they get up on YouTube and they want to shame traditional dudes or men in general to date in 304s, what they're doing is because they themselves were creating the 304 factories, right? And what happens is their intention is not to get married to the chick that they're smashing or they're having sex with. Their chances are just to smash and keep giving them body counts, right? So now what they're doing is shaming dudes to wife up the 304s so that they can keep having sex with women, so that women can keep the access to box open. That's why they're doing that. Really and truly, that's, how should I say? That's a very deceptive tactic on those men that are doing that, because they're not operating in true masculinity, right? True masculinity is, I'm going to be honest about what I'm doing. I'm going to be truthful about my intentions. And, if I'm selling this thing to another man and another dude doesn't want what I'm selling, I'm going to leave that guy alone. I'm not going to keep pushing my ideologies upon that dude. But what a lot of the dudes, it's the same thing with the stepdaddy thing. A lot of men are shaming you dudes, especially in the black community. A lot of black men who are creating 304s and get women pregnant, the reason why they're shaming you dudes to be a stepdaddy is because they want to keep doing what they're doing, right? They want to keep creating 304s and baby mamas, and they're shaming you to clean up their responsibilities and their mess. See, you can't hold a traditional nigga accountable for creating 304s because he's a traditional nigga. You have to hold the men who are being players, who are being max, who are being pimps, accountable because they're the one creating the problems, and now they're shaming other men to clean up their responsibilities or holding men accountable for their fuck ups and their misdeeds in the dating market. So don't get it twisted. There are men that have poisoned the well in the dating market. There are also women that have poisoned the well in the dating market, right? The men, which is a crime against manhood and masculinity, you've poisoned the dating market for traditional dudes by creating 304s, by creating single baby mamas, and then when a traditional dude wants to find a traditional chick, that chick now has to lie about her past. That chick now has to pretend to be something she is not. Right? So what you do is just do it now. Give me 1 second. 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So what was I saying? Yeah, so you have men that have poisoned the date market, whether it be the PUAs who lie, or it be the PUA niggas that lie, the player niggas who created the 304s, the pimps who created the 304s. Like I said, I don't have an issue with players being players. My issue is when the players start trying to condition the men to be players to keep giving access to 304s. Because now the men are being traditional now, and the 304s know that shit. Well, this player, he was being non-monogamous, and I did this thing. About me being with this player or me being a baby mama with some raggedy dude, I'm not going to qualify or get access to the traditional dude. So what's that going to do? That's going to stop the women from being 304, living that 304 lifestyle, right? So that's what the men are doing. The men want you guys to date 304s, not because they believe in masculinity or manhood, but because they want to keep being non-traditional. They want the sex culture to continue. They want to be able to be in open relationships, right? So you have a player that will say, I don't move in accordance to society. I move in accordance to the way I want to move, right? And really, truly, if you're a female, you should ask, well, society moving in a traditional way or a monogamous way, that is what's been giving us success and good structure in America, because America has been built off of traditional monogamous relationships. It's what's given us the best structure. It's what took us away from being savages, right? But when a guy tells you he doesn't move according to society, it can mean one or two things. It can mean, one, that he's not strong enough or capable of being what society say. Because watch this, society, a lot of times society, if it's moving in a righteous direction, it can be a great thing, right? So, moving according to what society is saying is not always a bad thing. It can be a great thing, especially if it's a benefit to you. That's what the issue is. What a lot of people are not telling you, right? So now you women, what you have to do when somebody tells you that, a guy tells you that, I don't want to move according to society. I don't move along with society say. I kind of move with what I say. You have to actually question this dude. Well, question the dude. You have to say to yourself, is this dude not moving towards society because he's not strong enough in his masculinity to move this way, or is it he's genuinely not moving with society because he doesn't believe in that direction? You have to say that to yourself, right? And mind you, watch this. I don't mind a dude saying a monogamous relationship is not for them, right? Because I don't believe in men lying to themselves or pretending to be something they're not to get into a situation they know they don't believe in. But at the same time, as men, especially in the Black community, we should respect each other and how we want to live our life and the type of women we want to allow access into our life. And we should respect each other and how we want to influence the women to move, right? Because I understand that every woman can be a traditional chick, and not every woman can be a 304. The problem in society, especially in the Black culture, is there's an imbalance. There's more 304s than there are traditional chicks, right? Now, I want to say something to the guy in the chat that said most are my God. Most women are non-traditional or they're 304s. The problem with that is that the women who are not 304s, they're not talking up or speaking up, right? Because every time I've witnessed, especially Black women in the Black community, speak up and speak out and say they want to be traditional and they want to find a traditional guy, what end up happening is that they get shamed. They get called pick-me's or pick-mishas, right? They get called, either the men shame other men from picking those traditional women, or the women shame, don't bully, especially in the Black culture, Black community. Black women shame those good women who are traditional and not 304s. They shame them not because of some sisterhood. They shame them because now those women are the actual great standard. And if the men, Black men, start finding those women and having a new standard of good women, they're not going. Those men are not no longer going to give access to the 304s who are running game and playing them for a sucker. That's why they're really shaming those good women. So it would appear as if most women are 304s, and then at the same time, most women, they're being influenced by feminism and Marxism and socialism. This is why I say socialism and Marxism is bad, because it's influencing women to rebel against the patriarchal men. So if the patriarchal men have a standard that says we are being more traditional, what Marxism is going to do is it's going to teach the women to be opposite of that. Get it? Right? Which is what's been going on, right? So, what was I saying now? I have ADHD, so y'all gotta forgive me. I lose my thoughts. Thoughts from every now and again, right? With the dudes, right? The men, you have to say to yourself, because we can blame the leader all day, but really and truly the follower, you have to know where you're going. And you cannot allow a leader or anybody, even me, you cannot allow us to manipulate you to do something you don't want to do. But the thing is, my position about traditional relationships is that it is what gave America the success it has today. Most of what we live in off of today is based upon the traditional relationships our forebears got into back in a time before now, right? So that's why that's my position. And because we strayed away from those things, we're in the progressive socialist crap we're in now, right? So that's my position of why I say traditionalism. And I actually date like that. I don't have sex with women on the first day. And I'm very aware of the games that the women play, right? So now if I judge that based upon how I see the woman choosing to respond to me, right? Because when people say that a woman responds according to the man, that's a surface level thing, talking point. And it's really just to take away the accountability from the women. Why am I saying that's a surface level talking point? Because women choose how they want to respond to you. Are the men leading? Yes. In general, do women respond to the man? Yes. But the women are choosing how they respond to you. You as the man, where your leadership comes in now is when she responds to you, or how she responds to you, and you correct it. You're supposed to either correct that response, teach her how to respond to you properly, or if she can't correct herself, you have to charge her to the game and let her go. Right? So when I'm dating women or I'm approaching chicks in the street, if her language is telling me that she's a gold digger, I'm not going to keep engaging with that chick. I just say, yo, you have a nice day. And I go about my business. If I'm dating you and that chick is now sending me naked pictures to my phone, or she's talking about sending her a cash app to her, that's a gold digger right there. So because I'm experienced with dating women and in the dating game, I know how a chick is. I could tell based upon your responses to me, how you view me and what's your game. And then I just leave you alone after I found out you're a gold digger or you're some kind of attention whore or you're just a vampire based upon your response, right? Now, okay, that's my coffee, right? Now the thing is with the dudes, right? You still have to be careful what a chick is telling you. She needs to get the time to know you because usually that's what a chick says when she's trying to run game on you or she's trying to um, extract either money from you or basically shortcut and cheat the game, right? Now, what I normally do in that situation is I would tell the chick, well, break down that to me. Why are you saying you need to get the time to know me and what type of relationship you're looking to get into? Just to see what she says. Because the women who are actually trying to find a relationship of substance, they can break it down to you why they're going to do that. And then they move with their actions. They let their actions speak, right? They actually move like that. And they're consistent with that. See what I'm saying? Right? So now what the common thing is, what you'll notice is that even though just because the chick doesn't want to give you box on the first day, that doesn't mean that she's a bad chick, and that doesn't mean she's running game on you. Because even with those type of chicks, they're still going to get the time. They're still going to be submissive to you. They're still going to be respectful to you. When you correct them on something, they're going to correct themselves. When you tell them to do something, they're going to follow your instructions. Right? So don't take it that because a chick is not giving you box on the first day, meaning she's going to be disrespectful or she's going to run a game on you. Right? That's just her standard. Right? And but the thing is, she has to be consistent all around the board with it, but no matter what guy she's seeing. Right? It doesn't mean she's not attracted to you. It just means that that's her standard. The thing is she consistent with that standard? Right? Now, once you find out who she really is as a 304, then you have to make a decision whether you want to keep dealing with that person or not. Right? That's the difference between a player, a traditional guy, or whatever type of dude you say you are. The difference is now with each of those individuals is that they have different ideologies and philosophies. Right? The thing is that you have to tell that chick how you operate. If she can't follow you, you're supposed to not deal with her. Right? The thing is that the issue that I have with the men on the YouTube who are non-traditional is they're teaching you guys to operate with accordance to how the woman is operating. I'm telling you guys, well, you can't set a non-promiscuous standard because women are promiscuous. Well, how does that dating coach know that? Person know that? If that dating coach never experienced a chick that's not promiscuous, all he's experienced is a promiscuous chick. That's his perception of his reality. And the problem with your own personal perception or your reality is that your reality or your perception can attract uh, um, can attract things to you. So if your perception is that all women are 304s, you're going to attract 304s to you. Now, the thing is though, when you go into the dating market is the dating market. So your ideology could be all women are 304s, but is that true? Your ideology could be most women are 304s, but is that true? Because you might go into the dating market and you might find something different. Now the problem again is that the women are what's going on is that the women are pretending to be something they're not, and not because of what the men are saying, but because of how the women are choosing to respond. Because if you're a guy, you're honestly saying, "Yo, I'm looking for a traditional chick because I'm a traditional dude," and now this chick now is going to lie to you and pretend that she's a traditional chick even though she's not. That's not the dude's fault because he said that. Because he was being honest about what he was looking for. That's the woman's fault for lying in the first place. Right? And what the guys are saying is that all of the women are the same. And they're not properly breaking down why all the women are the same. Right? Where, because not every chick, every woman cannot be the same. Or the reason why all the women are not the same is because if that was the case and all women are the same, then all the women, how should I say this properly, right? How should I say this properly? All like say I say this, all the women are the same in the context of there are going to be women who follow you and women who are not going to be follow you. That's where all the women are the same, right? All the women are the same in the context if they don't respect you, they're not going to follow you. That's where all the women are the same. As far as if they don't like you, if they don't respect you, they're not going to follow your program. That's what it's saying. Where they differ is where they differ is not all women are 304s, and not all women are ladies. There are women who are ladies, and there are women who are 304s. The problem is that the 304s are pretending to be ladies when they're really not. See what I'm saying? And that's the issue. That's the issue when you don't hold the women accountable. Because a traditional man, you have to hold the woman accountable to a traditional standard. The thing is that the guys who are non-traditional, who are players maxing into sex culture, they want to only hold the women up to a 304 standard. And every time traditional men try to hold the women up to a traditional standard, the non-traditional men who are into sex culture or who want to see the women out there naked, they dirty mac on the traditional niggas. Which those men don't understand is that both of those people can exist. Just because I'm holding women up to the traditional standard and there are women out there who are choosing to follow traditional men, that's not going to take away from the women who are going to be 304s. Because as I said, not all women are the same. They're the same in the context of there are women who will follow you and there are women who are not going to follow you. They're the same on that. But when it comes to that woman's personality, that her ideology, her belief system, they're different. You know what I'm saying? But the problem is that you got a lot of men out here, whether they're pastors do this too, where they have tainted and poisoned the women by turning them into 304s, making them baby mamas. So that's the real reason why a lot of men get up on YouTube and shame men into dating 304s and to becoming stepdaddies. Because they created those problems and they want other men, instead of those men taking up their responsibility and marrying the chick that he turned into a baby mama, he wants you to take care of his responsibility. The reason why the guys want you guys to wife up 304s is because they want to keep engaging with 304s. It's not no fucking because they believe in masculinity and manhood this and manhood that. They're hiding behind manhood. How I know that is because if they're not going to use female manipulation tactics to shame me into dating a 304 by calling you insecure or you're not intelligent as I, that's how women talk. Men don't speak like that. Men speak honestly. A man says, if I like 304s, he gonna tell you I like 304s and I want a wife of 304s. Why? Because you can hold that man accountable for what he said and his actions in the game. Women tell you will use words like insecure, and they speak in what you call indirectiveness or plausible deniability. Because with women, they want to be able to say something and be indirect, so you cannot hold them accountable. That's why it frustrates men like me, who are more traditional, when guys speak in with indirectness, because you can't hold them accountable for what they're saying, and you don't know who this man is. That's why a lot of dudes don't like players, because players they speak like that, right? And I'm not gonna say that that's all players. I'm gonna say that that's players that what you call fake players, because actual players that I talk to and I know personally, they speak honest. They tell you exactly what they want and what they're looking for. It's just that there are a lot of players on the internet that are not speaking that way. They're just hiding behind the veil or the mask of manhood and masculinity, but at the same time use female manipulation tactics to shame other men into um, dating the type of woman they're interested in to dating. Right? If, like, for instance, for example, if a man wants to sell you a car, right? He's going to tell you the make of that car, the type of car, and what he's selling that car for, right? And if another man, say, no, I don't want to buy that car, that man has to respect your decision and let you go, right? But a man that's trying to manipulate you is going to say, no. Say he's saying, I want to sell you a red Corvette for $100,000. If you say, well, I cannot afford that car, well, he's going to say now, well, I got this black Corvette. Or so let me phrase that better. Say you go to a car dealership, right? And you're saying, I'm looking for a black Corvette for $100K. And say that car dealership doesn't have any black Corvettes. All they have is red Corvettes. Instead of him saying, well, listen, if you come back a week later, maybe I'll have a black Corvette for you. But right now, all I have is red Corvettes in stock. Instead of that guy telling you, being honest about what's his inventory and if he can come back, what he's going to do to you now is lie to you, get a black Corvette and paint it red, and then sell you a red Corvette. That's not masculine to manhood, because you're now lying about what your inventory is or the cars you got to sell. Instead of being honest. They said, well, we don't got red Corvettes. All we got is black. So that's what those dating coaches, a lot of the dating coaches who are players doing, is that they are selling to you or telling to you that all women are 304s. And, well, let me say it like this better, right? What the dating coaches are doing is that to hide from you that they want you to date 304s, that they want you to keep on engaging with those 304s. What they're trying to lie to you and tell you is that all women are 304s. All women are the same as far as being a 304. Instead of telling you, well, we date 304s. We like to date 304s, and we like being in relationships with 304s. And when you come to my channel, I teach you how to get into a relationship with a 304, because I'm into an open relationship and I'm into sex culture. I'm into non-monogamy. So instead of them being honest and telling you that, what they're going to tell you now is, well, you can't really be monogamous because a lot of these women are non-monogamous, or a lot of these women are 304s, a lot of these women are in open relationships. That's not masculinity or manhood. That's you lying to the men. See, I would respect a lot of dating coaches. I would respect a lot of players if that's what they were saying directly, and they made that their disclaimer. Like for me, for example, right? I would tell you that I'm into monogamy. I will tell you this is how I'm dating. I will tell you that I'm for traditional principles and standards, right? I will tell you that straight up. And if you check my dating resume, it reflects what I'm saying, right? But a lot of these other guys that are pushing you to be either stepdaddy dumbasses or to be players, they're not saying that. They're not coming out honestly and saying, "Yeah, we players and we date 304s and we're into sex culture, we're into promiscuous women. That's what we do." That's not what they're saying. And then on top of that, they're shaming you if you don't want the type of woman that they want. That's ridiculous. That's the issue I have with a lot of the men on YouTube. And then because a lot of the younger guys, like the younger millennials and the Gen Z, they never grew up with a traditional male in their household. Because a lot of the bloomers, they were not patriarchs. They were a happy wife, happy life. And a lot of the bloomers, like Steve Harvey, big potato mustache head motherfucker, that nigga, a lot of the bloomers like him, they would marry a wife up 304s. Because the person that Steve Harvey married to, I think Steve Harvey was married 2 times before he got with the new chick, the new wife he's with. That chick he's with, she was a whole trap monster. She used to be married to some prison nigga. She was a trap bitch, basically. And a lot of those bloomer men, they knew that the chick they were dating was some kind of porn star or some kind of 304. And on top of that, what made it worse, a lot of those bloomers, they were not patriarchs. They were whole provider suckers. There's a difference between a patriarch who's a provider and a sucker who's a provider. A patriarch that's a provider, he's going to provide for the woman that is in line with his household and how he wants to run his stuff, how he's with his program, or how he wants to operate. A provider sucker now, he has no program. He's going to provide for that woman and be happy wife, happy life, and follow that woman's program. That's the difference between a patriarch provider and a sucker provider. Sucker provider, he's going to follow the woman and provide for the woman. A patriarchal provider is going to be a man that's going to say, I'm going to provide for the woman that's in alignment with my program. That's the difference. So you had a lot of bloomers who were sucker providers. Beta male are sucker providers. By the way, there's nothing wrong with being a beta male. And my problem is that YouTube and Google fucked up the meaning of what a beta male is. Beta male is not a weak motherfucker, bro. Or you have weak beta males, but you don't have strong beta males, right? And being a simp or being a weak is not subjected to just being a beta male. You can be a weak ass alpha. Will Smith is a weak ass alpha. There are a couple weak ass alphas that you see. What's this nigga name? Russell Wilson is a weak ass alpha. With Russell Wilson and Will Smith, I don't think they're weak. Well, I don't know. I'd have to break that down some other time. But a weak male, regardless of alpha, beta, or sigma, is a weak male. Right? It's just a lot of dudes, a lot of dating coaches, a lot of dudes. They just use beta and alpha male to manipulate you to think or operate a certain way, which I don't like that. I don't like being in a fucking box. You feel me? I don't like being in an alpha box or a beta male box. Right? So, for example, Donald Trump, he's the alpha, and his vice president is the beta. Or a lot of times you have a beta and a sigma that's there, but in Donald Trump's instance, he's the alpha because he's the president, he's the chief commander, and his vice president is the beta. A beta is just a second hand in command. He's still a whoop your ass dude. A lot of the people that go to the military, a lot of them are betas. Usually the general is the alpha, and either the general is an alpha or a sigma, and then the soldiers are betas. So stop letting people manipulate y'all into thinking a certain way, with alpha and beta, because what they do is they say, well, a beta male is the type of guy that complains about women and the alpha doesn't complain. Or beta male, he'd be cool with a chick with a big body count. He'll be insecure about a chick with a body count and an alpha won't. That's stupid, but you know why? Because alphas during the traditional Victorian age, the alpha men during the Victorian age, they did not date chicks that were 304s or women that were had big body counts. Let me say that to you again. Alpha males during the Victorian age, they didn't date women that had a big body count who were 304s. The alphas of the Victorian age, who were gentlemen, they only dated ladies. They didn't engage with 304s. Alpha males during the Gen X and during the Greater Generation and the Silent Generation, they didn't date 304s. So you know what it is? Alpha and beta is subjected to the era and the direction the society is going into. So right now, currently, the society we're going into is a new age, open relationship, sex culture kind of society. So of course, in the current society we're into, or the environment we're into, the alpha is going to be cool with the chick with the big body count because that's the society. And then now the beta is going to be assumed as, because he doesn't want a chick with a big body count, he's going to be assumed as a weak one. It's stupid, to be honest with you. That's why I don't like those boxes, because now they just use that shit. Because what kind of, it could be an alpha dude that's into 304s. But at the same time, you could have an alpha dude that's into traditional relationships. So it's like, that's why I don't get into those alpha male, beta male, and what's a real man and what's not a real man. A real man is a man that's going to sit here in America and deal with the trash ass woman he got to deal with, and you're weak in your masculinity because you decide to go pursue women in other countries. That's stupid. Masculinity is masculinity. It is in a man's nature to go pursue women to procreate with. Period. Why is that? Because that's based upon biology. Biology says that because the man is producing billions upon billions of sperm every day, I have to go find a woman to go reproduce and repopulate the earth. So now if you got places say in China, for example, or Vietnam, where the population is low, like how you had Korea, or I think it was Korea or Japan, talking about they need black men to go over there to go sleep with their women. What that's saying basically is that nature is saying our population is decreasing, and we need men to come over here and repopulate our country. That's basic masculinity. That's the core primary function of men. So the passport bros who are going over to Vietnam or these Asian countries or wherever they're going to pursue women, they're moving how masculinity calls them to move. That's not weakness. That's actually strong, because that's how men are supposed to operate. Because what those men are supposed to do, produce with the women here in America that's of corrupted soil. The women over here that want to vote for Kamala Harris because they were for abortion, they want to delete babies because of irresponsibility and inconvenience. That's what you're talking about. And then every time the men try to get the women in line and in order, other men who want to continue to engage with creating baby mamas, and that's the other reason why a lot of men, liberal men in black culture, voted for Kamala Harris, because they want to get a chick pregnant and not take responsibility for that kid. And mind you, it's only 8% of black men that are doing that. Majority of black men are actually responsible people. So all of you white dudes and you non-black folks talk about black men are going to create single baby mamas. 70% of black men are in the life of that child. It's only 8% of black men that are out here creating single mothers and not being there for the child. So what's happening is you have a lot of those dudes who are part of that 8% We said it again. You have a lot of black dudes and white dudes and Asian dudes who are part of that 8% that voted for Kamala Harris because if the woman is going to go abort the baby, she doesn't have to take responsibility and go wife up that child. That's why you see a lot of black culture that a lot of dudes are encouraging you to be stepdaddies. It's not because of some honor code system. It's not because of they care about the women. It's so that the men can keep engaging in the foolishness. Same thing with the chicks, ladies, right? But anyway, a lot of the men, they are conditioning the dudes to move according to where the women are. And by that definite logic, you're being a simp because you're adjusting the women to the men. You're adjusting the men to the women. My bad. You're adjusting the men or programming the men to settle because most of the women are 304s. That's simping because you're moving according to the women. You're not moving according to what you want. And that's the problem I see in black culture, and that's the problem in society. Is that, well, I would say in more black culture because black men don't have a objective goal, constitutional standards, especially amongst brothers, black men, brothers amongst each other, and how we're going to operate. Every man is for themselves. So you have one man over there that's a player, and he's influencing women to be 304s, and then you have another man over there that's traditional, and he wants women to be traditional. The problem with the black culture is that there's more men who are players trying to be players, leading the women into being 304s. That culture or that thing in the black culture. It overrides and it overshadows traditional dudes. And what we do is we shame the traditional men too and say, y'all are suckers or y'all are losers or you're lame. All those different type of shaming tactics. You feel me? I'm saying, but um, that to me is a problem in itself, right? Um, because it's like the players want to be the only ones to influence the women, and then they're dirty back on other men without knowing they're doing it. And what they do is they'll say, well, if you don't agree with my opinion, you don't have to watch my channel, which is true. The problem is that you're breaking the rules to your own game that you set. But then you want to hold other men accountable to standards, but you're breaking the rules to your own standards. How does that work? You can't hold me accountable to something, but you're not holding yourself accountable to your own rules. Don't practice what you preach and be the thing that you want me to be. And if I don't want to be what you want me to be, leave me the fuck alone and let me influence what I'm influencing. See, traditional men, they don't uh they don't encourage or try to shame dudes who want to smash and be players to be a traditional. Traditional men actually respect how other men want to operate. Until those other men want to infringe on our liberties or want to shame us to date how they want us to date. But typically, traditional men respect other men because that's one of the unspoken codes of manhood and masculinity. I respect how another man wants to operate as an individual. This is how I know that a lot of the men who are on YouTube are not really preaching manhood. They're half-assing the manhood they're preaching because they don't respect traditional dudes. They don't respect dudes who have standards that say, I don't want a promiscuous chick or I don't want a 304. And to you guys that are listening to these dudes, you have to look yourself in the mirror and say, what do you want out of life? And once you find out what type of relationship you want, when you're going to go follow a dating coach or even me, you have to say to yourself, is this guy preaching something that I can follow or is going to help me get to where I want to go? I have to say that to myself too, right? I'm just pointing out, um, I'm just trying to point out with this video why a lot of men on YouTube are conditioning men to date according to the women. And then they hide it behind manhood and masculinity. Same bloomer shit, like how the bloomers were taught. A lot of bloomers program a lot of Gen X and a lot of millennials to date 304s. And to go date bad women. This is why in black culture, amongst black men, during the Gen X and during the millennials, we picked a lot of bad women out of the game because that's what the OGs told us to do. And we couldn't question the OGs. We couldn't question the bloomer OGs. Right? Either they withhold information or they shamed us for questioning them. But anyway, this is going to be a short video. This is something that was burning on my brain and sitting on my chest, and I have to get that out. Right? This is Kid Shardy Gamer Nation. Like, share, and subscribe. And please, when I make a title of a show, respect my goddamn title. Don't come into my chat speaking about other shit other than the title. I have a Cash App. You can donate to that. Like y'all gotta. It's like I don't get it. If I was fresh and fit and I had a bunch of big titty girls on here, y'all would donate to the channel and y'all would respect the topic I want to speak about. This is what I'm going to say here before I log off. This is how I know a lot of you dudes on YouTube don't really value masculinity in yourself, and you've allowed the women to program you and conquer you. Because if you go to a YouTube channel, like whatever podcast or Fresh and Fit, and you won't be disruptive in their chat. You go to their chat and you'll speak about the topic that they're talking about. And you speak about their chat and donate to their channel because they got big titty girls up there. But me as a man coming to you with masculinity, coming to you preaching you something, giving you a message. You come to our chats and you troll. I see this with Angry Man. I see this with Tommy Sotomayor. I see this with Anton Daniel. I see this with Coach Greg Adams. Even with the dating coaches. Don't get it twisted. I have love for the dating coaches. Y'all go to our chat, and we're men standing on masculinity as men getting the message out to you. But you troll our chats. You'll be disruptive. You'll be disrespectful. But you respect the chats where the dudes are showing you bitches. I don't understand that. But anyway, this is Kid Shardy Gamer Nation. Like, share, and subscribe. I'm out.